Hello everybody, Joel here from Golf Monthly and welcome to my next vlog, which is all about which club you should chip with around the greens. Now, there's a couple of things I need to start with before we get into the content of the vlog, and the first is that you'll notice I'm not in Portugal where the rest of the vlog is filmed. I'm in Burley Park in Stamford, and that's because I filmed an intro for the vlog out in Portugal, got home and realised it had absolutely no audio with it whatsoever. No. Hence me filming a new one here in England. The second thing I wanted to highlight is that I am aware that my vlog prizes have been getting a bit sloppy recently. I've not really been dishing out as much as I should do. So in this vlog, I'm pushing the boat out and I'm going to offer you guys a nearly new TaylorMade mill grind 56-degree wedge. It's only been hit a couple of times, and that silvery finish. Says low bounce, but I'd say 9 degrees is pretty mid bounce, with a standard kind of wedge shaft and grip and length and all that sort of thing. So if you're interested in winning this prize, all you've got to do is like the video, comment on the video and tell me which club you chip with around the greens. I'd love to hear from you because that's what this vlog is all about, what club you should chip with around the greens. I'm only going to give this wedge away if we get to 100 likes, so make sure you like it, your friends like it. If we get up to 100, I'll pick one of the comments and this wedge will be on their way to you. So yeah, the vlog itself, what club should you chip with? Now, I know I'm not a golf pro, but I've got some pretty good ideas about kind of the things you need to consider when choosing the club to chip with around the greens, but I've also enlisted the help of a good friend of mine and golf pro, James Ridyard. Now, James is widely regarded as one of the experts when it comes to short game and especially chipping and pitching. So he's kind of given me some of his ideas about what club you should chip with. Should you go for the one club approach or the multi-club approach, and the pros and cons of each? Kind of combine those with my thoughts on chipping and pitching. This vlog is not designed to offer a right or wrong answer. There's no right or wrong answer when it comes to chipping around the greens, but it's just going to present you some ideas, some things to think about, to consider about your own games and perhaps implement in yours to improve your short game and get up and down more often. And hopefully this vlog will make you think about the club that you choose and also the way you practice your short game as well, because we've got some ideas on that. So enough from me in England, let's switch over to me in Portugal for the rest of the vlog. Okay, so I've got myself here what I would call a pretty standard chip shot. There's a little bit of fairway and fringe to go over, but quite a lot of green to work with. To clarify, when I say chip, I mean anything from 30 yards and under. Now, I would say that down the years, I've used anything from this type of situation, so typical chip shot situation, anything from my 54-degree wedge all the way down to my 6 or 7 iron. I've got a variety of clubs here. I've got my 54, 58 pitching wedge and 7 iron. Golfers often kind of go into two different camps. They feel like, oh, it's a chip shot, it's a short shot, so I need to have the most loft, and might go for their lob wedge or their wedge down from that, their sand wedge. Or they might think, well, I've got nothing between me and the hole, so it makes sense to run the ball in along the ground using a 7 iron. And to be fair, I've been in that camp as well, and there's no question, a lot of the time you can execute that shot pretty well. You know, you use a short swing. You would think that a shorter swing is easier to control. You basically run it in along the ground. I've not practiced this, so bear with me. Run it along the ground, and it's an easy shot. To be fair, I've hit a really good shot there. It's gone to about 2 feet past the hole. That was a surprisingly good shot. The only thing I'd say about using a 7 iron when hitting chip shots around the green is that modern 7 irons, the faces on these clubs are really, really springy. It becomes very difficult to control how quickly the ball comes off the face, especially when you're a lot closer to the pin. And the other thing to think about when using a 7 iron is the fact it's such a short swing, it can actually be quite difficult to accelerate the club into the back of the ball. And recently I've struggled actually with making short swings and actually feeling like I've gone too far and slowing down. As I'm sure you know, deceleration is the biggest killer in chip shots around the green. So if you're using a very low lofted iron, there's a chance that you're going to try and decelerate the club, especially because modern irons are so springy. So what about the other end of the spectrum then? A lob wedge. Would anyone use a lob wedge from this situation? There are a lot of benefits from using a lob wedge. You're taking out all this fringe that you've got to go over, any kind of dodgy bounce or anything like that. Obviously amateurs will tend to shudder at the thought of using a lob wedge from this tight lie, and understandably so. Even to be fair, I'm quite nervous about it as well. I'm going to give it a go for you now. Would I ever use a lob wedge from this situation? No. Oh, to be fair, that's not a bad shot. I actually run on quite a lot. Coaches and such like often talk about trying to get the ball rolling as early as possible on the greens, and that was one of the main reasons why I've started changing my club selection around the greens, is because I always felt like I needed to get the ball rolling as early as possible. When you've got a long chip shot with lots of green to work with, high lofted wedges like your lob wedge aren't really going to do the job for you. So I think we can eliminate the lob wedge from this scenario, because a lot of golfers simply don't feel comfortable using such high amounts of loft from tight lies around the green. This is where it comes down to which club you feel most comfortable with. And the chances are the club you feel most comfortable using around the green is the club that you practice with the most. Let's face it, while a multi-club strategy, so different clubs for different situations around the green, might be a great idea in principle, in reality none of us have the time or the patience to practice with different clubs and different shots. You go to the chipping green, you take your favourite wedge. For me it's my 54-degree wedge, and I'll hit different shots. I'll hit shots from here, shots from the bunker, shots from closer to the pier, you know, shots from different lies around the green, and I do it all with this club. And the benefit of that is that you develop your skill and understanding of how to manipulate the club face and the length of swing and the face angle through different shots to adjust to different trajectories, different levels of spin and different types of shot. For example, with my 54-degree wedge, I could play a low running shot into this flag, I could play a high spinning soft landing shot, and I could do one in between. I'll try and demonstrate it for you now. I can put this on my back foot and feel like I hook it in a bit, and it's going to run and run and run. Okay, I've hit that a bit too hard. Conversely, I can put the ball forward, open the club face and hit a much higher shot. Again, so high, that should spin. Okay, that's better. So two massively different shots. If I played that first shot with an 8-iron, I think you'd see a pretty similar trajectory. And that's just the way I'm manipulating the loft and also the path. I feel like if I hit a little draw with the wedge in the back foot, I'm going to get more run out of the shot. So I'm going to come back to what James Ridyard told me about wedge play, and specifically which club you should use. Basically, he is a big believer of the fact for 95% of shots around the green, you should use one wedge. And I've just kind of demonstrated there why the one wedge option is possibly a better option for most golfers. You can see I'm able to hit different shots that would cater for most situations around the green. I can hit the ball high, I can hit the ball low just by manipulating the club face, the setup position and also the path slightly. You know, the shot in between those two is just the bog standard chip shot. Goes kind of mid-height. A little bit of check. Okay, again, I've hit that too hard because the greens are firm, but you get the idea. And I think it really comes down to which club out of your high lofted wedges, so anything from 52 up to 60 degrees, which do you feel most comfortable using? Which do you practice with the most? If you're in the camp of a majority of golfers who tend to practice with just one wedge, it's very difficult to then employ different clubs out on the golf course if you don't practice them. I would say try and limit the use of any low lofted clubs like a 7-8 iron. Yes, it gets the ball rolling early, but it can be difficult to control the speed, and if you rely on that club like a lot of golfers do, your short game will be one-dimensional. If you leave yourself short-sided and you're not used to hitting high lofted wedges, if you're not used to hitting flop shots and opening the club face, then you're really going to struggle in the long run. And don't forget, when you're opening the face, you're adding bounce. So actually the wedges will interact with the turf a little bit better. They will glide through the turf. Your low point, if you like, becomes a little bit longer because the club isn't digging as much. That's another thing James Ridyard talks about, is having a 3-inch long low point in the swing. So you can hit behind the ball and still make good contact and still hit a good shot with a good result, even though you've actually hit the ground first. Obviously it comes down to how you control your attack angle and things like that, but I think having a little bit of extra bounce there with an open face is going to increase your margin for error, no question. Obviously the theory of having one simple motion and varying the club is a sound one. You can see how that would easily vary the trajectory, and also if you can consistently practice one action, and you'll get better at striking the ball and controlling the speed and acceleration of the club head that you would achieve different flights and different trajectories for different shots around the green. But then I still feel that if you go down that route, your short game is still quite one-dimensional, and that when you need to have a bit more creativity around the green, if there's some obstacles in the way and things like that, it can be difficult to really control the speed, and you become very much out of your comfort zone with awkward yardages or awkward distances, awkward lies, things like that. Obviously learning to manipulate the face, which is something that you wouldn't necessarily do if you were hitting different clubs with the same swing, is arguably a more effective way of altering the trajectory of your shots. Now, I've hit the ground behind the ball there, but because I had the face open on my 54, my margin for error was much better, and I still actually achieved a pretty good result, even though I hit the ball slightly heavy. All I've got to figure out now is how to hold the putts. So which wedge are you most comfortable using? For me, it's my 54-degree wedge. It's my go-to wedge. I use it when I practice. I'm comfortable using it in a variety of situations, open-faced, even trying to get the ball running with it. I understand how it interacts with the ground. Over time, you gain a greater understanding of those kind of things. And when you have the knowledge and understanding of how something works, you feel more comfortable using it. And if you're more comfortable using a wedge, you should get better results from the shots that you hit with it. Right, okay, so that's a wrap from this vlog. I hope you found it interesting. Basically, there is no right or wrong answer when it comes to what club you should chip with around the green. I believe there is still a place for the chip and run shot with a low lofted iron, but I think that place is fairly limited, and I think you do need to practice it to be able to employ it out on the golf course. I'm one of those people that's guilty of using it on the golf course without practicing in it, and more often than not, it gets me into trouble. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you like it. Share the video, comment on it. What club do you use to chip with? Let me know which club you use to chip with. I would love to hear from you. Big thanks to James Ridyard for helping me out with some of the content and insight in this video. I'll put some links in the description below for all the various places you can follow him on social media. Make sure you do that. You'll certainly learn a thing or two about your short game. But for now, from Villamora, it's goodbye.